Good Times, a spin-off of the hit show Maude, took viewers inside the Evans family's Chicago apartment in the Cabrini Green projects. With humor woven throughout the story, the show tackled real issues like poverty, racism, and the uphill battle for social mobility. Leading the Evans family was James, played by John Amos. Alongside him was his wife, Florida, brought to life by Esther R. Their three children, J.J., Thelma, and Michael, were portrayed by Jimmy Walker, Bernadette Stannis, and Ralph Carter, respectively. But before we jump in, let's reminisce a little. What are your favorite Good Times memories? Yeah, those were the days. All right, enough teasing. Let's dive into the lives of the brilliant cast that brought Good Times to life. Ralph Carter as Michael Evans. Precocious and socially conscious, this young African-American activist with a fiery spirit for justice is nicknamed the pint-sized powerhouse by his dad. Michael keeps his family informed about the racial inequalities plaguing Chicago and the nation. At just 9 years old, Carter launched his Broadway career in The Me Nobody Knows. After several successful plays, he landed his star-making role as Travis Younger in Raisin, which earned him prestigious awards and a Tony nomination. Norman Lear, riding high on the success of shows like All in the Family, secured Carter for his new series, Good Times. Lear bought out Carter's remaining Broadway contract so he could play Michael, James, and Florida's youngest child. Venturing into music, Carter released an album titled Young and in Love in 1975. He even performed a soulful rendition of When You're Young and in Love on Soul Train. This catchy tune, along with Extra Extra, Read All About It, climbed the charts. A decade later, he released Get It Right as a single. In 2005, Carter joined the cast of Ain't Supposed to Die a Natural Death with the Classical Theater of Harlem Company. Jimmy J.J. Walker as James J.J.J. Evans Jr., J.J.J., an artistic soul, craves fame and dreams of lifting his family out of their financial struggles. Until his big break arrives, J.J. juggles schoolwork and keeping an eye on his younger siblings. Unfortunately, his grades, except for art, leave something to be desired. Actor Jimmy Walker credits director John Rich for inventing the now iconic Dynamite catchphrase. Rich insisted Walker use it in every episode, despite initial resistance from both Walker and executive producer Norman Lear. The phrase, along with Walker's portrayal of JJ, became a huge hit with viewers. However, the on-screen chemistry didn't translate off-screen. Walker clashed with veteran actress Esther R, the show's lead. R and her co-star John Amos disapproved of JJ's increasingly wacky antics and his rising popularity, which Walker found hurtful. This tension ultimately led to Amos's departure, before R's. With Amos gone, Walker became the show's star. Notably, he was the only cast member absent from Roll's funeral. Since Good Times, Walker has continued to act, appearing in movies like Big Money Rustlers and Super Shark, and even made a guest spot on The Bold and the Beautiful. He also penned a memoir titled Dynamite, Good Times, Bad Times, Our Times, in 2012. In the same year, he launched his own mobile app. Walker has never been married and doesn't have children, but has enjoyed relationships with many partners. He's also shared his political views on shows like The Wendy Williams Show and The O'Reilly Factor. Identifying as an independent, he expressed his disapproval of affirmative action, believing it's no longer relevant. While personally against same-sex marriage, he acknowledged its legalization and saw no point in further opposition. Jeanette Dubois as Willona Woods. Willona, a neighbor and confidant to the Evans family, eventually becomes adoptive mom to Penny Gordon Woods. Fiercely independent, generous, and a life-of-the-party kind of person, Willona's loyalty to her best friend Florida is unwavering. While her nose for the neighborhood news can run a bit strong, Willona is always there to lend a hand no matter the situation. Actress Jeanette Dubois' career began on the small screen. Early roles included the 1969 TV movie J.T. and a stint on the soap opera Love of Life, 1970-1972, making her a trailblazer as one of the first black actresses on a daytime drama. Dubois' big-screen debut came in Diary of a Mad Housewife, 1970. She then landed parts in the comedy Five on the Black Hand Side, 1973, and the play The Hot L Baltimore that same year. After Good Times, wrapped in 1979, Dubois released her album, Again, Jeanette Dubois, in 1983. She even played Janet Jackson's mom in the iconic music video for Control, 1987. In 1992, she co-starred in Maya Angelou's play And I Still Rise. Dubois continued to grace both the big and small screens throughout her career, appearing in films like I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, 1988, and Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle, 2003, and on shows like Moshe, The Steve Harvey Show, and Touched by an Angel. Her voiceover talents earned her Emmy Awards for the animated series The PJs, 1999 and 2001. Dubois and the Good Times cast were honored with the Impact Icon Award at the 2006 TV Land Awards. Beyond acting, Dubois served as Grand Marshal for a community parade in Amityville, New York, and was an honorary member of the Zeta Phi Beta sorority. Dubois was married to Sajit Gupta in 1950, though their marital status seems to be debated. Together, they had 4 children. Jeanette Dubois passed away in 2020 at her California home. Bernadette Stannis as Thelma Evans. Thelma, the Evans' only daughter, grew up in a cramped Chicago apartment with her parents and older brother. When her mom awaited the arrival of her younger brother, they moved to a housing project on the city's north side. Thelma, along with her former co-star Jimmy Walker, once did voiceover work for AT&T. She also appeared in a nationwide insurance commercial. Bernadette Stannis, Thelma's actress, has been featured in promotions for the TV One network, including a playful Battle of the Thelmas segment, where she and actress Anna Maria Horsford showcased their characters' weddings from different shows. In 2010, during Black History Month celebrations, Stannis and Walker reunited on the program Color TV to reminisce about good times. She later appeared on TV One's Life After. In 2016, Stannis shared her life story on Centric's Being. Stannis has been married 4 times. Her first marriage, to high school sweetheart Thomas Fauntleroy, lasted from 1974 to 1978. She then married Brooklyn nightclub owner Darnell Johnson in 1979. Her third husband was mechanical engineer Terrence Redd, with whom she had a daughter, Dior Ravel, in 1982, around April. After their divorce, she married Kevin Fontana. There seems to be some confusion about the exact year of their marriage, with some sources claiming 31 years by 2012, while others suggest she was married to Redd around 1981. Stannis also has a second daughter, Brittany Rose. Currently, she resides in Atlanta, Georgia, with her children. Esther R as Florida Evans. Florida Evans, the heart and soul of Good Times for most of its run, is the single mother of JJ, Thelma, and Michael. James Evans, her husband, tragically died in a car accident before they could move their family to Mississippi. Florida later remarries Carl Dixon. Esther R, the actress who brought Florida to life, was steeped in the performing arts. She was a dancer with Asadata Dafora's troupe and later became its director. Her acting career began on stage, debuting in New York with The Blacks in 1962. She frequently appeared in productions by Robert Hooks and the Negro Ensemble Company. Roll tackled diverse roles, from plays like The Crucible and Blues for Mr. Charlie to the groundbreaking musical Don't Play Us Cheap, both stage and screen. She even portrayed a powerful Lady Macbeth in a unique Haitian adaptation of Shakespeare's classic. Married to Oscar Robinson from 1955 to 1975, Esther R had no biological children, but gained a stepdaughter, Shirley Mae Robinson, from Oscar's previous marriage. Sadly, Roll passed away in 1998 from complications of diabetes. A devout member of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, her funeral was held at Bethel AME Church, and she rests in Westview Community Cemetery in Florida. Roll's family ensured her legacy lived on by donating over 100 personal items to the African American Research Library and Cultural Center. This collection includes her clothing, awards like the NAACP Image Award, and her Emmy for Summer of My German Soldier, and even a recording of her poetry recitals. Johnny Brown as Nathan Bookman. Nathan Bookman's introduction in Season 2's The Family Business was a bumpy one. His interactions with the Evans family and Willona were initially quite tense. Before becoming their building superintendent, Johnny Brown, the actor who played Nathan, had a successful career as a nightclub entertainer and comedic performer. He's known for his larger frame, warm smile, expressive face, and light-hearted humor. Brown also appeared in commercials, including those for Hunt's Manwich and the short-lived Wright Brothers pen. In the pen's ad, he plays a teacher leading a musical number encouraging students to use the pen for schoolwork. In 1997, Brown shared an anecdote on the compilation album Comedy Stew. He revealed that producer Norman Lear considered him for the role of Lamont on Sanford and Son, but Brown's commitment to Laugh-In prevented him from taking it. The part eventually went to Demond Wilson. Brown also had a guest spot as Fat Man on the original Ghostbusters television show. Later appearances include a role as a dying comedian on Touched by an Angel, 1998, and 2 episodes of Kenan and Kel, 1999. In 2004, he played Wallace Suitcase Jefferson in the mockumentary The Old Negro Space Program. Sadly, Johnny Brown passed away in Los Angeles in 2022 at the age of 84. He collapsed after a doctor's appointment and was pronounced dead upon arrival at the hospital. Ben Powers as Keith Anderson. Keith Anderson, a professional football player, joins the Evans family in Season 6. Played by the late Ben Powers, Keith falls for Thelma, and they tie the knot in the 4-part premiere, Florida's Homecoming. Powers, a Brooklyn native raised in Rhode Island, honed his craft at the Rhode Island School of Design. He got his start in the 1970s under the direction of Adrian Hall at Trinity Repertory Theater in his hometown. A versatile performer, Powers wasn't just an actor. He also excelled at stand-up comedy, impressions, and singing both standards and his own original music. Discovered by a Hollywood agent, Powers landed movie roles and gigs at Playboy clubs in Las Vegas, New York, and Boston. After Good Times, he made guest appearances on popular shows throughout the 1980s, including Gimme a Break, Flamingo Road, and Laverne and Shirley. He even landed a recurring role on the detective drama Mickey Spillane's Mike Hammer, 1984-1985, alongside Stacy Keach. However, the show's cancellation due to Keach's legal troubles in England cut Powers' run short, leading him to step away from Hollywood in the late 1980s. The big screen also saw Powers in films like Cheech and Chong's Next Movie and The Man Who Loved Women during the early 1980s, though mostly in supporting roles. Sadly, Ben Powers passed away from liver cancer in 2015 at the age of 64. Teddy Wilson as Sweet Daddy Williams. Meet Marion Sweet Daddy Williams, a flashy neighborhood kingpin known for his swagger and expensive bling. Born and raised in Harlem, New York, Theodore Wilson originally pursued music at Florida A&M University before discovering his passion for drama. Back in New York, he joined the Negro Ensemble Company and honed his skills at the Arena Stage Repertory. His acting debut came in the 1970 blaxploitation film Cotton Comes to Harlem. In 1976, Wilson landed a golden opportunity with Tandem Productions, a company helmed by powerhouse producers Bud Yorkin and Norman Lear, who were churning out hit sitcoms like All in the Family and Sanford and Son. This opened doors for Wilson to guest star on several of their shows. Later that year, Wilson secured a recurring role on Good Times as the menacing Sweet Daddy Williams. In 1977, he was offered the lead role in a spin-off of the wildly popular Sanford and Son called Sanford Arms. This show aimed to continue the legacy of the original series after star Red Fox's departure. Wilson played Phil Wheeler, a war veteran and widower who takes over the Sanford Arms rooming house from his old Army buddy, Fred G. Sanford, played by Fox. Sadly, Sanford Arms didn't find its audience and was canceled after just 4 episodes. Wilson was a father to 3 children, Theodore Jr., Robert, and Nicole, the latter 2 with actress Joan Pringle, his co-star on That's My Mama. Pringle even became the executor of his estate after his passing. Theodore Wilson tragically died in 1991 from complications arising from a stroke at the age of 47. He had previously undergone open-heart surgery. Moses Gunn as Carl Dixon. Carl Dixon, a shop owner where Michael has a brief stint, becomes a love interest for Florida despite their differing religious beliefs. Their relationship blossoms, leading to an engagement in Season 4's finale. However, this happiness is short-lived when Carl is diagnosed with lung cancer and calls off the engagement. With encouragement from Bookman, Carl overcomes his fear and proposes again. They marry off-screen and move to Arizona. Sadly, Carl doesn't appear in Season 6, even for Thelma's wedding. Moses Gunn, the actor who brought Carl to life, thrived in both film and television but truly shone on stage. His New York debut came in an off-Broadway production of The Blacks, 1962. He tackled numerous Shakespearean roles under Joseph Papp's Shakespeare in the Park program, even winning an Obie Award for his portrayal of Aaron in Titus Andronicus. Another Obie Award came for his work in First Breeze of Summer, which later moved to Broadway. His acclaimed performance as Othello earned him a Broadway run in 1970. Gunn's stage credits also include A Hand is on the Gate, Twelfth Night, I Have a Dream, and The Poison Tree. For his performance in the latter, he received a Tony Award nomination for Best Actor in 1976. In 1977, he narrated the documentary film Black Presence in the Era of the American Revolution. Gunn appeared on The Cosby Show twice in 1989, playing different characters each time. His final acting role was on Homicide: Life on the Street. Married to Gwendolyn Mama Landis since 1966, he became stepfather to her daughter Kirsten. They also had a son, Justin, who pursued music as part of the Copenhagen-based band the Reverend Shine Snake Oil Co. Sadly, Moses Gunn passed away from asthma complications in 1993 at the age of 64. Helen Martin as Weeping Wanda Williams. Another tenant in the Evans building is Wanda Williams. We see her early on at a women's support group, and the whole building throws her a rent party to show their support. Later, Wanda seems to appear tearfully at every funeral, even for people she doesn't know, earning her the nickname Weeping Wanda from JJ and Willona. Actress Ethel Martin brought Wanda to life. After college, Martin followed her acting dreams to Chicago and then New York City. She honed her craft with the WPA Theater and the Rose McClendon Players, and even helped found the American Negro Theater in Harlem. For decades, Martin was a talented Broadway character actress. Her career began in 1937 with Orchids Preferred, and she went on to appear in Orson Welles' production of Native Son in 1941. Over her long career, Martin graced the Broadway stage in a dozen shows. This included The Blacks by Jean Genet, the musical Raisin, 1973-1975, Ossie Davis's Pearly Victorious, and its musical adaptation Pearly, The Amen Corner, and Tennessee Williams's Period of Adjustment. Martin also appeared on sitcoms like Baby, I'm Back and That's My Mama, often portraying grandmotherly figures. She brought her warmth and humor to films like Hollywood Shuffle, 1987, Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, 1996, I Got the Hookup, 1998, House Party 2, 1991, and Bulworth, 1998. where she played Mama Doll. In fact, during a Late Night with Conan O'Brien appearance to promote Don't Be a Menace, Martin's wit and candor left the audience and host in stitches. When asked about playing a pot-smoking grandma, she declared, "I love the reefer." She even playfully added that if acting hadn't been her path, she might have been a stripper, following it up with a few suggestive dance moves. Helen Martin, a true scene stealer, passed away in 2000 at the age of 90. Chip Fields as Lynella Gordon. Lynetta Gordon, Penny's abusive biological mother, makes her debut in the 5th season's 4-part opener, The Evans Get Involved. Penny's father deserted Lynetta when she was 16 and pregnant, setting the stage for Lynetta to unleash her wrath and frustrations on Penny, even burning her with a hot iron. After the abuse is exposed, Lynetta confesses to the Evans family that she endured abuse as a child. She gets into a physical altercation with Willona and Thelma, who urge her to seek counseling. Chip Fields, born in New York to a Jamaican mother, Patsy, and an African-American father, began her career as a singer. She joined Ronnie Spector as a Ronette in 1973 and recorded 2 singles for Buddha Records. Chip Fields, born in New York to a Jamaican mother, Patsy, and an African-American father, began her career as a singer. She joined Ronnie Spector as a Ronette in 1973 and recorded 2 singles for Buddha Records. Fields' acting debut came as an extra in the 1974 film Claudine. She has since amassed an impressive resume of supporting roles and guest appearances on television. Opposite Patty Weaver in the NBC soap opera Days of Our Lives, she portrayed an unwed mother. From 1978 to 1979, Fields portrayed Rita Conway in the short-lived series The Amazing Spider-Man. Rita served as J. Jonah Jameson's secretary, akin to the character Glory Grant from the 1970s comics. Fields' other notable appearances include What's Happening?, Hill Street Blues, T.J. Hooker, Rock, the short-lived sitcom Kirk, starring Kirk Cameron, the Wayans Bros, and the Parkers. She took on the role of Laverne, the mother of Regine, played by her real-life daughter, on Living Single. Fields contributed as a consultant on The Parkers, Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century, and Living Single, and served as a dialogue coach for the film Menace to Society. She also directed episodes of popular UPN sitcoms, including One-on-One, All of Us, Girlfriends, and The Parkers, as well as episodes of Romeo, Just Jordan, Hannah Montana, Tyler Perry's House of Pain, and Meet the Browns. Matthew Stymy Beard as Monty. Once off the screen for many years, Beard was attempting a return to acting. He landed 5 roles, including 4 as James's friend Monty. Monty had previously played babies in numerous films before securing a 5-year contract with Our Gang. Unlike Farina, the character Monty replaced, he possessed a smooth-talking, self-assured, and nonchalant personality. Monty was quick with a sly remark and clever ideas to solve challenges, offering practical solutions to his friends' problems. Leaving the show in 1935 at the young age of 10, Beard continued acting in minor film roles, appearing in titles like Captain Blood, 1935, and Jezebel, 1938. At 15, he took on the role of Mose the Bellboy in The Return of Frank James, 1940. By high school, Beard had stepped away from acting altogether. Unfortunately, he fell into drug use and a life on the streets, becoming addicted to heroin. His early adult years were marked by a revolving door between jail time on drug and theft charges. The 1960s saw a turning point. Beard entered Synanon, a drug rehabilitation program in Los Angeles, and successfully overcame his heroin addiction. Following his departure, he made a modest comeback, taking on small film roles and guest appearances on shows like Sanford and Son, Emergency, and The Jeffersons. In 1978, he donned his signature bowler hat for a role in the Buddy Holly story, portraying a crew member backstage at the Apollo Theater. He also became a drug abuse awareness advocate, lecturing across the country. Tragedy struck in 1981. Just 2 days after turning 56, Beard suffered a stroke. A fall downstairs resulted in head injuries, and pneumonia ultimately claimed his life on January 8th. He resided in Los Angeles at the time of his passing, Richard Ward as Henry Evans. James's estranged father, Henry Evans, goes by the nickname Grandpa. Years ago, ashamed of his inability to financially support the family, Henry abandoned them. This deeply wounded James, who pretends his father is deceased. Thelma, while researching the family history, stumbles upon Henry. Unaware of James's knowledge of his whereabouts, she brings Henry home as a surprise for James's birthday. However, James has chosen to keep his distance. Though known for his late-career television appearances in both comedic and dramatic roles, Ward had a long and distinguished career that stretched beyond the small screen. A highlight of his stage work was his portrayal of Willie Loman in a groundbreaking 1972 production of Death of a Salesman, the first African-American production of Arthur Miller's classic play. Ward himself cherished his role in Ceremonies in Dark Old Men. Born in Glenside, Pennsylvania in 1915, Ward spent a decade as a New York City detective before pursuing acting. A graduate of the prestigious Actors Studio, Ward's television debut came in 1950 on The Perry Como Show. He later appeared on dramatic anthology series like Playhouse 90 and Studio One before becoming a regular on 1970s sitcoms like Mary Hartman, All in the Family, and The Jeffersons. Ward's guest appearance on Sanford & Son, The Stung, 1975, saw him portray a professional gambler tasked by Fred with teaching Lamont and his friends a lesson. Though he initially played Captain Doby in the pilot of Starsky and Hutch, Bernie Hamilton took over the role for the series. Ward did return for a different character in a later episode, shortly before his passing from a heart attack. Alice Ghostly as Hortense Dobbs. Alice Ghostly portrayed Ms. Dobbs, a social worker involved in Willona's adoption process for Penny, appearing in 3 episodes. Ghostly was no stranger to television, having played one of the villainous stepsisters in the 1957 musical version of Cinderella alongside Julie Andrews. 12 years later, she reunited on screen with her co-star Kay Ballard, who played the other stepsister. This time, Ghostly appeared as a stressed-out maternity nurse on Ballard's sitcom, The Mothers-in-Law. Her career extended to guest appearances on shows like the police comedy Car 54, Where Are You?, and The Tom Ewell Show. She was also a favorite of Jackie Gleason, who frequently cast her in his variety shows during the 1960s. Ghostly found lasting success later in her career. Between 1986 and 1993, she brought to life Bernice Clifton, the eccentric friend of Julia and Suzanne Sugarbaker's mother, on Designing Women. She followed this with roles on Evening Shade and Small Wonder. Her talent for comedic characters landed her guest spots on shows like The Golden Girls and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Even soap operas weren't immune to her charm, with Ghostly playing a ghostly character on Passions. Beyond television, Ghostly achieved acclaim on stage. She received a Tony nomination for multiple roles in the play The Beauty Part, and later won a Tony Award for Best Featured Actress in The Sign in Sidney Brustein's Window. Her television performances also garnered recognition, including an Emmy nomination for her work on Designing Women. Ghostly was married to fellow actor Felice Orlandi from 1953 until his passing in 2003. Sadly, she passed away herself in 2007 at her home in California after battling colon cancer and strokes. Janet Jackson as Millicent Penny Woods. Millicent Penny, Gordon Woods, is a prominent character in the CBS TV series Good Times, appearing in seasons 5 and 6. Portraying Penny is the talented Janet Jackson, an actress, singer, dancer, recording artist, and entertainer. The illustrious Janet Demita Jo Jackson was born on May 16, 1966, in Gary, Indiana. She was the 10th child of the Jackson family, a working-class African-American clan residing in a modest 2-bedroom house on Jackson Street. Her mother, Catherine Esther Jackson, née Screws, a clarinet and piano player with country and western star aspirations, worked part-time at Sears. Her father, Joseph Walter Joe Jackson, a former boxer-turned-crane operator at U.S. Steel, played guitar with a local R&B band called the Falcons to supplement the family income. Janet Jackson, a revealing two-part documentary, aired on Lifetime and A&E on January 28th and 29th, 2022, respectively. During the end credits of the documentary's finale, Jackson teased a snippet of her new song, Love I Love. In 2020, Jackson was set to embark on the Black Diamond World Tour, but the COVID-19 pandemic forced an indefinite postponement. She also announced her 12th studio album, Black Diamond, slated for release in 2020. On December 12, 2022, Jackson thrilled fans by announcing her Together Again tour, set to commence on April 14, 2023, along with hints of new music. Lifetime and A&E doubled down on their commitment to Jackson's story by greenlighting a follow-up documentary series, Janet Jackson, Family First, which was announced on March 8, 2023. The series will offer an intimate glimpse into Jackson's preparations for her Together Again tour and her joint efforts with brother Randy to reunite the illustrious family band. In October 2006, Jackson was introduced to Qatari businessman Wissam Al-Mana, and their romantic journey began in 2010. The couple privately exchanged wedding vows in 2012. Jackson welcomed their son into the world in January 2017. In April 2017, reports surfaced that Jackson and Al-Mana had separated and were pursuing a divorce, which Jackson confirmed the following month. From the signature Die No Might to Thelma's sharp wit and JJ's savvy, Good Times brought relatable characters to life. It showed the importance of family and laughter even when things were tough. A big thanks to the cast and crew for this unforgettable show. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, smash that like button and subscribe for more classic TV throwbacks. Let us know in the comments, what are your favorite Good Times moments? Catch you next time.